Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Cities Skylines. I certainly hope you're having a fantastic day or wherever you happen to be, because I'm excited to be back today. Oh boy, that was a lot of todays and a lot of hellos. Today is gonna be a little bit of a return to form, because it is absolutely gonna be a day that is very much a one-man podcast. And apparently a day when I say things 3 times for emphasis. But yeah, it's gonna be a one-man podcast kind of day because there's 2 stories that I talked about at the end of the last episode, and I want to tell those stories. One of those stories I have told several times in several different Cities Skylines Let's Plays. So if you've heard the story about the reason that I really like the name Linden, then I apologize. And this other story is one I haven't told. So we'll start with the story that I haven't told, which we'll get to in just a second, because I do want to explain what we're going to be doing today and what has changed between episodes. So you may notice that there is a considerable amount of traffic over here. That's because there's a lot of people moving into this neighborhood. So that's kind of going to be there for a little while. And that's okay. I'm honestly not too worried about that. It'll hopefully sort itself out. It'll hopefully sort of all move in and all be okay. But that's something we will need to keep an eye on. I've also added 3 bus lines to this area. We've got 2 that just loop around everything. Then this red line goes from the new area to the central station, and it's relatively popular right off the bat, so that's kind of nice. Also popular on this side as well. And we do have a bit of popularity for the 2 looping lines too, so I really, I can't complain too much. I do want to edit the biofuel bus though, because the passenger capacity is only 30. I feel like it's a coach, right? I'm pretty sure coaches are usually like 55. So I'm gonna set biofuel buses to hold 55 passengers. I know that's a bit cheaty, but it's really not that cheaty for the challenge, so it's not that big of a deal. It's not gonna break the scenario. They look like coaches. You know, well, they don't, but they're sort of coaches. They're definitely 30 is too low. I think 30 realistically is too low for those. So 55 seems like a good number. But yeah, that's the thing we've done. They're relatively popular. They're going quite nicely. But for this episode, honestly, I want to go through and I want to do these parks in here, and I want to make them kind of nice. So that's where we're going to start today. And we're also going to start, like I said, with a bit of story time. So this district up here is called Semicolon Way. And that, as a name, I think is a brilliant name, because I recently got a tattoo of a semicolon on my right wrist. And for those of you that don't know, a tattoo of a semicolon is generally considered to be a mark of solidarity with mental health, with things. This is going to be a little bit of a heavy topic. We're not going to go into like the heavy details of it, but it is a mark of solidarity with either people that suffer with it, or a mark of someone that has suffered with issues and all that kind of stuff. It's something kind of near and dear to my heart, because I mean, if you follow sort of what's been going on with me as of late, you'll be aware that I do, you know, have my own demons and all that, right? So it is, I think, a really just beautiful tattoo to have. It's very, very simple. And the reason it's, I think it's so good is because it's clever. And that's not me sitting here saying like, I'm really clever. I've got a really clever tattoo. It's clever because of what it is. Because grammatically speaking, and that sounds really pretentious, but it's true. Grammatically speaking, a semicolon is not a full stop. I mean, it's just not. That's just the reality of it, right? Therefore, you know, it's a break. It is a pause in a sentence. It is a moment of reflection in a sentence. And I think that's beautiful as someone that has, you know, I have my own demons to fight. I think that's a beautiful concept because it marks that, you know, while you might be struggling or having a hard time or whatever, you know, it's not the end. It's not the end of your story. It doesn't have to be the end of your story. This is just a pause. This is just a moment, like another beat to your story. It's another chapter. And I think that's really beautiful. And I love that as a tattoo. Anyway, the reason it's particularly interesting, I guess, is that I'm, number one, terrified of needles. And number two, I didn't entirely plan on ever really getting a tattoo. But when I first kind of tweeted about some of the mental health problems I was having, and I want to clarify this. I'm not telling this story for I don't want this to come across as like I don't think it does, but I just want to clarify. I'm not telling this story for sympathy or anything like that. This is just the reality of why I have a semicolon tattoo. When I first tweeted about sort of having some mental health issues, one of the responses to that tweet was from someone, I can't remember the exact Twitter handle, but the name was Badger, and it was him holding up not holding up, well, it was a picture of him holding up his arm, his wrist, which had a semicolon tattoo on it. And I'd heard about this, but I'd never really seen it before. You know, people having that tattoo as a mark of solidarity. And I quickly Googled it and I was like, I love this. Like, as an idea, as a tattoo, it's small, it's simple. It's kind of perfect for someone like me that is kind of wary and scared of needles. And it's something that is like near and dear to my heart. So I kind of wanted one. And then, you know, episode 3 of this series, I'm like, hey guys, what should we do for district names? And lo and behold, there's a comment from the same person. And it's probably a little awkward if you're watching this. It's like, oh, this is a little weird. But yeah, a comment from the same person. It's like, semicolon way. It's like, absolutely. And it's I don't know, it's strange. I guess the point is that the world's really weird, if you think about it. Because, like, a tattoo is a big deal. It's a very, very small tattoo that I have. It is not by any means huge, but it's still really weird how just such like a simple thing like a tweet can kind of influence you to be like, you know what, I'm gonna get a tattoo. It's really strange. We live in a really strange world, and I'm okay with it. That's when it comes to stuff like this, you know, when you have a moment like this that's like, oh, this is weird but really cool. You know, I always have that moment where it's like, I'm okay with like this side of the world. That's really cool to me. Anyway, that is that's kind of why that's you know, semicolon way I think is a brilliant name, and that's kind of, you know, why that that particular story is or that particular name is an interesting one, at least in my opinion. It's yeah, basically that was a very long-winded way of me being like, hey, I've got a tattoo now. That's essentially what that was. Just so we're all on the same page. That is essentially the point of that story. And yeah, I don't know. I never thought I'd have one. Never. Always been terrified of needles. I don't know if I've ever told the story on the channel of the one time in my life I've had a blood test. And I'm 26. I've had a few illnesses here and there where I probably should have had blood tests, and I haven't because of my phobia. And like, I'm aware that it's completely irrational. Like, people remind me all the time, it's like, you have an irrational fear. And like, I know it's irrational. I know it's silly. Especially now that I went and got a tattoo. It's like, I know that my fear of needles is is silly. I know that my fear of needles doesn't really make sense. I still hate needles. But I don't know. It's weird the way the world is. Like, a little tweet gets me, who's terrified of needles, to go out and get a tattoo of the thing that actually means a lot to. It's such a strange world that we live in. It really, really is, and I love it to bits. How's traffic doing over here? Actually, it looks like it's sort of filtering out a little bit. What about our buses? How popular are we? The red line, very popular. The other line's not as popular, but that's okay. That's fine. We have this little space filled in. This is all very on fire. It is getting water dumped on it, though. We do have fire trucks around here, don't we? We do have a fire station in there. 8 of the engines are in. Okay, well, if they'd hurry up and get more. Oh my god, this whole area is going on fire. Right. Don't set my new park on fire, please. I've just built High Garden. Please don't burn it down. Also a very fancy park, if I do say so myself. I like it, though. I think it looks good. Anyway, on to, you know what? We'll go on to Meadow Park, because this one over here might catch fire. And I think Meadow Park's probably going to be relatively simple, I would imagine. We'll just go for something nice and simple on this one. So something a bit like that. We'll throw you there. Is there zoning in this part? Oh, that's a crematorium. Well, I guess we'll go for symmetry and throw a crematorium in there. I guess that's fine. Bit grim looking, but that's all right. So we'll have a crematorium there. That's all right. We'll bring a path across. And we'll go straight down, and I guess we'll just sort of go around this area a little bit, do that kind of thing. And that looks fine by me. It'd be nice to have this not have this like cliff thing around here, but I guess I can hide it with trees or something like that. Anyway, so that was that's the semicolon story. That's why that particular, I guess, what would you call it? Punctuation mark? I don't know what exactly to call it here. That's why that means a lot to me, though, because it is really important in, you know, a lot of ways. It is, I think, a really, really clever tattoo, and it's not something I'm taking credit for. You know, I didn't come up with the idea. I just think it's really clever in that in what it means, you know. That whole not the end of a story, not the end of a sentence. I think it's a really nice symbol. Anyway, the next story isn't quite as deep as that. The next story relates to why I really like the name Linden, which is it's down here. Linden Square is this district, and this is a story that, like I said, I've told in a lot of videos, and I will probably tell in several more videos in the future on this channel. But I'll try and keep it relatively short and sweet. A few years ago, I was walking through the center of my town, and I was stopped by someone who was on a mission. Someone that was on a mission from Australia. I don't remember the exact church or religion that he was on that mission for and with, and that's not really important to the story because it's just not. It's just that's not really important. This conversation I had with the guy, though, was very interesting. It was a really kind of eye-opening conversation, and that I say that in genuinely with nothing but respect, because I'm not really, I'd say really, I'm not religious myself, and that's not me, you know, I'm not gonna discredit really, I'd never do that, and I just want to clarify that before we go into this story, and I think I've clarified that a few times when I tell this story. I'm just not, but I have a lot of respect for a lot of the teachings, because a lot of the beliefs I hold as a person are rooted in the lessons taught to me through religious studies in school. you know, the whole concept of love thy neighbor, treat others as you wish to be treated and stuff like that. While they are sort of fundamental life lessons, they were taught to me through religion. So, like, I genuinely have just a lot of respect for religion sort of teaching, in that sense, how to be a better person. Anyway, I just wanted to clarify that. Bit of a weird topic for a City Skylines video, but I just wanted to, you know, get that out there. Anyway, so this guy stops me and he's like, do you have a moment to talk about what he wanted to talk about? He was on a mission, I'm sure you can guess. And I'm really awkward, right? I'm one of these people that if I'm walking in the street and someone tries to hand me a flyer, even though no part of my being wants that flyer, I will take it. I did this. I was on holiday in Glasgow recently, and there were people around Glasgow Central Station who were handing out flyers, and I didn't want them. I didn't want a flyer, but well, I took several because I can't say no to people. I just can't. I really struggle doing that. I always feel like a bit of a I don't know. I try not to swear in these videos, but I'm sure you can fill in the blank. You know, a bit of a all right, you know, fill in that beep with whatever you want to fill it in with. So yeah, I'm handed a flyer and I immediately throw it away. Anyway, that's not part of the story. That's nothing to do with the story. Yeah, so this guy stops me and he introduces, you know, his name's Lyndon, right? He's from Australia, he's on a mission. And we're talking about religion, and, you know, one of the first things I said to him is, I'm not religious. And he kind of asked me to clarify that. Do I mean I don't believe, or I just don't practice, or whatever? And I clarified it in the way that's appropriate for me to clarify. And I kind of immediately said to him, that's not, you know, I'm not discrediting, basically what I just said, you know, I'm not discrediting a lot of the things I've learned as a person, and the lessons that I carry are based on things I learned in religious studies. Anyway, this conversation, I thought, like, I was in a rush to get somewhere, but very quickly I forgot that I was in a rush to get somewhere, because this conversation was just really genuine. And I'm one of these people that when you get me talking, I don't shut up. So I just started talking to the guy, and we just had a conversation. It was like talking to someone that I'd known for a really long time. And I'd never met him before in my life. But 20 minutes into this conversation, we're no longer talking about religion. We're talking about Halo 3. And I love the Halo games. I really do. But we're talking about Halo 3 and how Xbox Live just isn't the same since they added the party system. And again, just a really genuine, brilliant conversation that has, and this was years ago, this was 4 or 5 years ago, I don't know how long exactly, but it has absolutely stuck with me ever since. And for some reason his name, just Lyndon, like, just stuck with me as well. I was like, that's a good name, that's a brilliant name, I love it. Like, there was just something about it just absolutely stuck with me. And yeah, it was genuinely the strangest thing. I don't really like talk. Funnily enough, this is just funny enough considering my job. I don't really like talking to people. I just don't. I'm really awkward in that sense. I'm not a big fan of trying to hold a conversation because I'm bad at it. I like genuinely. Again, I know that might be kind of funny considering my job, but I'm genuinely bad at holding conversation because I don't know what to talk about, because I don't have a lot to talk about. And this is like, you know, if you've sort of been following, you know, what I've been up to on social media and a lot of what I've been talking about lately, you'll be aware that part of, you know, what I'm trying to do in life is, you know, go out there and do more, right? Go out and, like, actually, you know, live a little bit, you know, have stories to tell. But part of the reason I'm really bad at holding conversation is because for the longest time I haven't really done that. Like, what I mean by that is I have just worked, right? Everything I do is just like work related. So I'm really bad at holding conversation, because if you try to have a conversation with like a legitimate conversation with me, it will very quickly become about like work or something like that, because that's kind of all I do, or all I did anyway. So yeah, holding any kind of conversation, not about, I mean, this conversation with Lyndon was about video games, but just holding any kind of conversation, any kind of genuine conversation, is very, very difficult for me. Because, I mean, again, it might be kind of funny to say I don't have a lot of stories, considering the majority of the last City Skylines series was story time. But yeah, it's I don't know. It is a conversation that has stuck with me for years, for genuine years at this point, and I don't think we'll ever sort of leave my me old memory, because again, it was just a really genuine kind of human conversation. It's weird. I don't know. I'm not usually sentimental about conversation, but here we are. This is me many years later. Anyway, what am I doing? What am I doing here? I've designed two parks. It took 20 minutes to design these two parks. That's not bad. I actually like this one a lot, to be honest. This one less so, looking at it, but that's fine. Oh god, traffic's actually getting worse over here, isn't it? I imagine a lot of it's because it's coming through this neighborhood, isn't it? Actually, not so much. That's interesting. It's also backing up at this point. Let's try traffic lights. Let's see what happens if we actually put traffic lights on that, because I imagine it's just going to make things worse. But I'm curious. We'll leave that for a minute and see what happens. Man, I'm sort of going over those stories in my head. It is really weird how things like that stick with you, though. You know, like things that at the time seem really insignificant, and this is maybe just me getting old, you know, ripe old age of 26. But it is strange, I think, how like something that just seems really insignificant at the time can just stick with you like that. I don't know. I genuinely regularly kind of remember that moment as well, that conversation, as well as other things. There's a lot of things I remember. I imagine I know I'm not alone in this one, but like I regularly remember embarrassing things. And by embarrassing, I mean not necessarily embarrassing in the sense that other people noticed it, but like moments that you remember and you just really, I don't like the word cringe. I think cringe is like a really overused, like it's a meme at this point, and I hate it for that, because I think cringe is it's an awful sounding word, cringe, right? But because of it's just like a meme these days. You can't really use it in any like serious sense, I guess. Maybe I'm just being a little bit, I don't know, snobby, but I do regularly remember moments where, you know, it's entirely likely no one else noticed that I did a thing, but I noticed, and I remember, and I think about it, and I'm like, I just remember how embarrassed I was, even though at the time I knew no one noticed. You still just remember it and go, ooh, you know. I hate that. I love remembering good things, like, you know, good conversation or whatever, but just those moments that you think back on and you just can't help but have that little shiver that's like, ooh, you know. I hate those. I really genuinely hate those. They are just, without a doubt, the worst. Anyway, let's get back to talking about what we're doing here. I have no idea what to do for Sheffield Meadows here. So I'm going to be a little bit lazy. I'm going to use a brush and just put in some bushes in the middle there. I think what we'll do is we'll throw in just a couple of these about the place with, like, I don't know, maybe some of like the large trees or something. Would they actually work in there? Kind of. We'll do like 2 of them. It's just a big square, isn't it? It's nothing fancy. But it'll do. It'll do. Traffic up there is still pretty bad. Hopefully that'll clear right at some point. I kind of have my doubts. Traffic down here is still pretty bad as well. What's our traffic flow percentage? 69%. Okay. That is very bad is what that is. And yeah, traffic is just backing up the entire way along there. Okay, well, that is, that is bad. I'd love to say that this intersection here is the problem, but it's really not. It genuinely is this one down here. So what if we were to bring that straight through? So we go like this and we go like this. So traffic can now cut straight across if it wants to. And I think what I might do, just to be a little bit cheeky, is this kind of thing, which might be a little, actually, you know what? We don't have to do it that way. We can do an asymmetrical one, can't we? Where we have 4 lanes going to the intersection on both sides. So we'll split it this way. So you can go to those 2 lanes. You can go to those 2 lanes. And then on this side, we do the same thing. So you go out there. You go there. And then what we do is say you can go there. I guess you go to those, that lane and there. So yeah, this can go to 2 lanes. That can go to 2 lanes. That can go to 2 lanes. And that can go to 2 lanes. Then here is gonna be that. And I guess that. And then this middle one can go to all 3. I don't know how good of an idea that is, but we'll figure it out. You can go to 2. You can go to 2. You can go to 2. And then you can go to 2. And we'll see how that plays out. Then this side is going to be go to just the 1. Then all 3. And then the 1. And let's see how that plays out. We'll sort of keep you guys in lane right there. And keep you guys in lane right there. So let's see what that does, if anything. It should help the traffic flow a little bit. We might need to extend the, we might need to extend that 4-lane section back a little bit, because it looks like traffic's having a hard time. It does definitely, yeah, it's all this merging. So I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's extend that right back to, we could go into the tunnel. We could, oh, no, we could not. Never mind. Never mind. Let's undo that. You are a tunnel again. Congratulations. All right. So what I think I also want to do is say no merging on any of this, because I can. And that way all the merging can be done in the tunnel. So I'm not even going to see the merging. You get in lane, you figure it out. That way, traffic, as it comes out of the tunnel, goes to the lane that it needs to be in. And it looks like this might have the desired effect. And by that, I mean it's still backing up like crazy, but that's fine. It's okay. It's probably, I would imagine, made things a little bit better. Yeah, it's sort of compacted the traffic a little bit. So we'll kind of hopefully see some good come of that. Hopefully. We'll hopefully see some good come of that. I'm also noticing we actually have demand for a lot of things right now. Now let's have a little look here. Happiness is about to hit 85. That's really good. We're almost at halfway through this particular part of the challenge as well, which is beautiful news. 7,500 squares zoned will be halfway through. So I guess what we do is turn this into a district as well. Not really sure what this district will be, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Let's just, let's maybe not zone right there. Let's instead do this. And let me turn on road length and all that stuff. I think we'll just go for, well, actually, I think we'll go here and we'll come down like this. And then I think I want to fill up the rest of the space with this road. I wasn't really wanting to put those junctions too close together, but I think we'll be okay. I think we'll manage. And then what I'll do is something a bit like this. And then we have a little bit of room in the middle there for a park. I think for that one, I'm just going to go for a placed one. So something like this, maybe right in the middle, or something like that right in the middle. That's not a bad shot. Let's do that. So throw that right in the middle there. And then all of this can be, I guess, the usual. I guess we'll do offices across here. And then everything behind it can be, I want to say more commercial. I'm thinking more commercial. I think what we could do is residential there and residential in that bit. And then the rest of it can just be commercial. Except for these bits, because they're a little bit messed up anyway. So, yeah, that can just all be commercial, and that should be pretty good for us. We can go in and do another district and all that stuff, and, you know, make sure it has the specializations, you know, the self-sufficient housing, all that stuff. But, yeah, I think I want to use this space. I do want to use this area out here to sort of become like a new city center-ish area. Which also has me thinking that it might be worth being a bit cheeky and throwing in some of the unique buildings. Which I apparently have all of. Interesting. Do I have... I'm pretty sure I don't have unlock everything on, but... That's interesting. I'm pretty sure I don't, but I really hope I don't. Let me see. What can we throw in here that's going to be relatively fitting for the area? We have the Grand Library. It's a bit huge. It is a bit huge. It would fit quite nicely in some of these spaces, though. What else have we got? We have the Expo Center, which doesn't fit too well. We have the aquarium. I just want something. That's kind of where I'm at here. I want something in here. We have got the observation tower, which I do like using for airports, to be fair. I am a big fan of the observation tower for airports, so maybe not. Stadium, no. Modern Art Museum, no. We do have the Sea and Skyscraper. Probably not a bad shot to put that somewhere. Turn off Road Anarchy as well. Could throw it in this corner. What would it look like right in here? Not amazing, to be totally honest. Would the Modern Art Museum... Ooh, it would go in there, though. All right, let's do that. Let's throw the Modern Art Museum right there. Bit of a weird spot for it, but I kind of like it. It's, yeah, that'll nicely add to that area. How are we looking for happiness? Still 84. That's okay. Not too worried about that. What else have we got that we can throw in? I could obviously throw in some stadiums. I'm not going to do that. What is this? Oh, the orchard leveled up. No, did I just place something? Slightly worried I might have just placed something. I don't think I did. What is this? Casino. No, I don't think we'll place that. Landmark-wise, I don't really see me placing much of this. The hypermarket is huge. The theater is a bit much. The shopping center, though, could probably fit really nicely in one of these areas, too. So, right in the middle in there. Right in the middle of a housing area. Bit of a weird spot for a shopping center, but I'll do it. So it can go right there. They don't seem thrilled about it, but they'll live, I'm sure. Oh, I'm realizing I'm forgetting about garbage, aren't I? Eesh, it's a bit bad. Okay. I probably want a new industrial area, don't I? I probably definitely want and need a new industrial area. Gonna have to look into that, I think, because I'm not really sure where I'd put it right now. I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure where we'd get a new industrial area into any of this. I guess out here wouldn't hurt. Actually, out there might be perfect because we could bring it off of this this weird highway that I've built. I'm also realizing I have all this space still not zoned. which I'm nervous to do because traffic is pretty bad in that area. We also have a lot of low density still around here. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's just do this. Oh boy, this is a bad idea. Let's dezone all of this low density along here. And I want to replace it with offices. And then I kind of want to dezone all of this low density. So just every bit of it needs to go so that we can replace it with high density. Which again, I'm really nervous about doing this because this is going to just create a bit of a nightmare for traffic for a little while, but hopefully we can make it work. Because when I say high density, I kind of mean, being totally honest, all of this. So all of that is going to be zoned with high density residential. Does it have water? It does. I'm glad that Past Me did that. Yeah, I'm a bit nervous about all of that building up because that is going to be a traffic nightmare, but we have got a bit of demand and hopefully that'll just push the population up considerably further. This has gotten worse, which is bad. So I'm thinking we might want to look at some alternate traffic solutions here. This might need to be some kind of roundabout. Or, well, I wonder if I could be so bold as to do this. And then be so bold as to, say, give way like that. I wonder if I can just get everybody to give way to that traffic. Like, if I just let the traffic go. Also, just looking at this. There is room to go everywhere. So if I was to say stay in lane on that side, in theory, they can get to the lane they need to be in. So that'll let all that traffic straight through, essentially. Because they just need to be in the right lane, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see what happens there. That should filter it through pretty quick, though. There is so much of it backing up on this highway. I'm starting to think this might need change, but we'll get to that. There is just so much of it. That is kind of, that is a lot. That is a lot of traffic. How are we looking for traffic flow? How bad is it? 65. And what's interesting is even giving this road priority, it's not clearing out. It's still really bad. So we still have a lot of work to do. I think this intersection is going to need changed. I think I might need to, move it. Maybe away a little bit. Maybe, filtered out a little bit. Might not be a terrible idea to split a lot of this off. That's not bad, though. We got the university, we got the harbor, eco water treatment. That's good. Okay. Let me go ahead and buy this tile then. Because it's been annoying me that I can't go over there. I do think it's fair to say... oh, that is sort of filtering out. I do think it's fair to say that we're probably going to want to maybe get rid of this tunnel. I'd actually be really curious to see what would happen if we did get rid of it. So I think as a temporary measure, let's do that. And let's actually see what happens when that tunnel doesn't exist. So let me turn traffic lights back on. Traffic lights back on. And yeah, I'm really... Are we low on water? We are. Okay. Let me get another pump then, just really quickly. I am really curious to see what happens when that tunnel doesn't exist. I'm curious to see where all that traffic's going to go. I'm curious to see what it does to this avenue, because this avenue is going to get very, very busy. And I'm also... How many people are using our buses right now? Over 1,000. That's nice. That is definitely nice. I imagine a lot of that's probably in the red line. Quite a bit. Not all of it, though. But definitely quite a bit. These two lines, that blue line around here is quite popular as well. But I'm thinking that maybe Either some trains or some metro could be an idea as well. I think just in general, this area, like getting rid of that avenue has just made this one much busier, as, yeah, you can see right here. So basically, we are probably going to want to improve our public transport, and we are probably going to want to just generally improve our road layouts. But in the grand scheme of things, in terms of the goals, we are over halfway to our population goal. We are pretty close to citizen happiness, and we're 1,200 short of halfway to the organic and local produce, which is largely on fire right now. That's nice. So yeah, I mean, it's a work in progress. There's still a lot to be done, but we are certainly getting there. So ladies and gentlemen, I think we can leave it there for today. Thank you very much for watching. It has been my absolute pleasure. And just before we do anything, I want to do this and clear all of that out. And I think my police station has actually burned down, which is interesting. I want to do that. And I want to set you to have that specialization. And I want to throw a police station back in there because apparently it burnt down. There we go. So that should stop the noise complaints in that neighborhood. That should give us a little bit more of the specialization that we're going to need. And with that in mind, that is going to be it for today. So thank you very much for watching. It's been my absolute pleasure. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.